Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. And I have something super special planned for you guys today. It is a Chelsea versus Brighton match preview. I'm super excited to be joined by Az from FPL Black Box YouTube channel. And in today's video, we're going to go through his Brighton predicted starting 11, my starting 11 for Chelsea, a combined starting 11. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the fixture and what we can expect in this game. So that's what's coming up in this video. Hey, Az, thanks so much for joining me today. I'm super excited to finally meet you in person, quote unquote. How is it going?
It's good, yeah. Thanks for having me on. Great to be talking about Brighton and my arch nemesis team in Chelsea. Be good to talk about all the struggles that you guys are having at the moment.
Yeah, I know there are quite a few, right? And it's really interesting, I feel, because these teams have so much history between each other, especially recently. And it kind of feels like, wow, it's fate that they got pitted against each other in the Carabao Cup as well. Like, was that a coincidence? I don't know. It just seems too good to be true. So let's get into your starting 11. I'm going to attempt to share my screen, but it's been a second since I've done this. So I'm going to see if that works, and hopefully you can see my screen now.
Got it. Yep. All working fine.
Perfect. So walk us through your starting 11.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of changes. The come for this. I don't think the Carabao Cup is kind of the priority for Brighton this season. We've got we've made a really good start in the league. So top six again will definitely be the target. We've also got Europe as well and got off to a bad start in that, losing to Athens. So I think the Carabao Cup is a chance for some players who maybe haven't had many minutes this season to come in. So we've got Steele in goal. I mean, I don't know if you saw Verbruggen, absolute disaster class against Bournemouth. I think he's sharing minutes anyway with Steele, but I think Steele comes in for this. In defence, I just think they're all going to change. Lamptey played well at left back against Manchester United. Dunk wasn't fit in Europe, so I think he's going to get a rest here. Igor and Van Heck coming in, and then right back's really interesting because a bit like you, which is interesting with Chelsea. We've got issues at right back. You've obviously got Reece James injured, and now Gusto banned from this. Well, we've got no real kind of natural right back in the squad. So do we play Veltman? But he's played quite a lot of minutes lately. I mean, we have got Lamptey, but like I said, I think he switches over to the left. So maybe March comes in. I don't really know who's going to play in that spot. It could be March. I mean, Gross, if he's fit, could play there. Maybe he'll do something similar to what we saw Zerbi do with Casado last year, where he moved him to right back. Maybe, I don't know. You just never know, do you? There's so much there's so much rotation that can go on. So I put March there, but I don't really know who's going to start there. A bit further up the pitch, I think it's a bit easier to predict. I think Baliba, came on, made a cameo in the last game, looked really, really good, but needs minutes. Same with Dahoud as well, and Lallana. All three of those have been sort of in the reserves, but will be waiting for their chance. And then up front, Pedro benched again. I think he'll get a chance up top. Fatty needs minutes as well. And Matoma was benched in the last game, scored the 2 goals. I think maybe comes in to add a bit of experience to the side. But it could be anything for Brighton. That is my disclaimer. It could be any team.
Yeah, that's the really hard thing when you're so early on in these cup competitions that you don't know exactly what the mix of youngster or the second team is going to be with maybe your more typical starting 11.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think we'll see Billy Gilmore feature at all versus his former club? I know was at least a bit of a fan favorite among us Chelsea fans.
Yeah, I mean, he's been so impressive for us. I think he'd been written off by a lot of people. He had that poor spell at Norwich, and we signed him for, I don't know how much it was, but it wasn't very much at all. Was it around 10 million or less than 10 million, something like that? Thought we were getting an absolute bargain, but just really struggled to kind of cement himself in the side. But since De Zerbi's come over, I think he's probably been one of our most improved players, and he was absolutely brilliant in the win against Bournemouth as well. I think, given his importance in the side right now and the injuries we've got to players like Gross, I think Gilmour was probably too risky to start in this one, which is crazy to think. You know, being he was relegated to cup games last season, but I think Gilmour gets a rest. Maybe comes off the bench.
Interesting. And who do you think is going to be maybe the key player for you? Will it be Mitoma? Is there anybody aside from Mitoma? I think from an outside perspective, he's just so brilliant. So that would be my pick, but that's maybe a bit obvious. Is there anybody else that you think could be the secret to unlocking Chelsea's defense?
Yeah, I think the midfield battle is going to be really key, because I think we do struggle without Gross kind of orchestrating things in the side. And you know, if we are playing Belieber, Dahoud, and Lallana, or you know, maybe two of those players haven't really featured much. You know, what are they going to be up to speed with kind of match fitness and that kind of thing? And if Chelsea play a strong midfield, you know, if Enzo coming in with Gallagher, maybe we could get overrun a little bit there, and that kind of worries me a little bit. But I mean, we have seen, you know, Brighton make changes, and we've all thought, what is De Zerbi doing? This is never going to work, and it somehow does. So the midfield battle is going to be really interesting, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And that kind of brings me perfectly to my starting 11. And I also had a very difficult time predicting this, because for me, I think that this is a must-win game for Chelsea, because we're not in Europe this season. So the cup competitions are really one of the only places where we're going to be able to progress far and have the possibility of winning some silverware this season. Maybe that sounds far-fetched given Chelsea's form recently. So I wanted to run through our injury list first before going through my starting 11, because we actually have like a starting 11 of injured players, basically. So Badiashile is still out. He should be close to returning. Borja finally made his comeback after about 10 months. He had a few minutes versus Villa. I don't expect to see him starting just because he is coming back from the long-term injury. You never know, but I would think that he's on the bench and then maybe comes off. Madueke has been involved in trading, so I think we might see him feature as well. Cucurella is also back and was named in the matchday squad versus Villa. Chupamecano, ahead of the Villa game, Poch said that he was close to training with the team, so hopefully he can be back sometime in October. Lavia's out, unknown return date. Reece James is out. He said that he's close to coming back to full fitness, but sometime in October. We don't know exactly when he's going to be back. Chalobah, yet to make an appearance, might be available for around the Fulham game, so maybe he's fit again. And Cuckoo, not expected until January, and Fofana is out for a year after rupturing his ACL. So really a lot of players out.
I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a bit sad, because there's a lot of narrative around like how much Chelsea spent, and I think that there's a lot of context that goes into it as well. Like a lot of key players are out, and that would affect any team. Of course, you do expect to be winning games with the amount that Chelsea spent, but it's a young, inexperienced side, and a lot of key players are out injured. So for my starting 11, like I mentioned, I went for a pretty senior squad. I'm really not sure what the balance of youth is going to be here, because you do need to have some rotation. But like I said, I do think that this is a must-win game for Chelsea. So I put Sanchez in goal. We could potentially see Petrovic in there. Maybe he'll make his debut for Chelsea. And then we also have the issue of right back, like you said, because Reece James is out injured and Malo Gusto is suspended. So I've gone for a back four of Disasi, Thiago Silva, Cowell, and Chilwell. I don't know if Thiago Silva can necessarily play like 3 games in 1 week. He's really good, but being 39, and I think he has been maybe struggling slightly this season. So could we see somebody else potentially come in there? I'm not so sure. I went for a midfield pairing of Enzo, Gallagher, and Caicedo. Again, potentially we could see Leslie in there, and he had made his Chelsea debut. Maybe we see Ian Matson featuring as
Mm.
well. I think he could potentially come in at that left back spot or even ahead of Mudryk, for example. And then I went for Cole Palmer and Jackson. So Jackson is not suspended for the cup game since, as you informed me, yellow cards don't carry over, just red cards. So he's available. And then I went for Palmer ahead of Sterling. So I don't know. This is my 11. What do you think of it? Do you think it's like reasonable? Maybe we see more youth come in. I don't know.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, I'm just looking at your squad list now, and obviously you've been talking about all the injuries you've had. I mean, in defence, it basically picks itself because other than Kukurea maybe coming in, I mean, he's only really played centre back in the back three, so he's the only one that could really maybe Matson plays a left back, for example, and then Chilwell gets pushed up a bit further, or there's something with that, but. He's going to want to rest Silva, Pochettino, I would imagine. But like you say, I just don't know how he can because there just doesn't seem to be any other options to play. I mean, this is pretty much full strength side. I mean, I think it's pretty much your strongest squad. Maybe Sterling in for Palmer. Although I'm really looking forward to seeing Palmer in this game
Mhm.
because I think he's a huge talent and he'll be chomping at the bit. Looking at Chelsea struggling to score goals and the start he had, in the Community Shield, getting the goal for Manchester City, and then signing for you guys, I think he will feel he could be the answer to your goal scoring woes. So
Mhm.
he's actually the one I'm probably most worried about in this team.
But I think it's a really good point as well because I think Raheem Sterling had one really, really good game. But apart from that, he has had positive spells. But at the end of the day, he's not having any end product. Like he's not, like the
Yeah.
team in itself isn't scoring. But if Cole Palmer can go on to get a goal or two or to produce some goal contribution in this game, that's going to put Raheem Sterling's spot maybe a bit under pressure as well and give Palmer the opportunity. So I think that healthy competition as well is only good for the team. So let's see. I
Yeah.
don't know. It'll
Yeah.
be interesting to see.
I think Mudryk's got a lot to prove as well because he's obviously started the last two games over Chilwell. Really, Pochettino saying that
Yeah.
he prefers Mudryk in that more attacking spot, but he's been really really poor. Mudryk, since he signed, he's had the odd glimmer where he's had a sudden burst of pace and put in a good ball, but the majority of time I've watched him play, I've been really disappointed. So he could just be saved in this game, or if he does start, like you're predicting, I think he's got to put in a good performance in this one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think to be fair to him, his appearances have been sprinkled
Mm.
throughout there. I didn't get to watch the entire Villa game, but I did see a really good moment from him where he put this through ball into Jackson and it was a
Yeah.
great save by Emi Martinez. And I was like, damn, he turns into like the best goalkeeper ever every time we play Villa. But I want to see more of that from Madrid. So let's move on to our combined XI. A lot of Brighton in there, couple of Chelsea players sprinkled in. I also want to say we did say like we are trying to do this based off of players that were available. So that's why, for example, Reece James isn't in there and he would make the right back spot, for example.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, the right back spot was the hardest one I think to pick when you asked me to do this, and Veltman picking a non, Veltman isn't even a right back by trade. He's kind of been shifted over there by our last couple of managers. I mean, he's a very good player, but yeah, he's not really a right back. So out of Chelsea and Brighton to be playing him in a combined 11 does feel a bit weird. But obviously, James would be there if he was fit. But yeah, I mean, the defense is tricky because obviously you want to put Silva in there, but then you think Silva's 39 years old, and I do wonder if I mean, the last few seasons he's been so impressive, but I wonder if maybe this season we're starting to see that kind of age coming through. So I had to put Dunk in, obviously, and then Colwill has played for both teams and been so impressive for both. I miss him. I miss him a lot.
How could I forget?
And then Estupiñán. I mean, Estupiñán and Chilwell, both great players, but Chilwell seems to have lost the trust of Pochettino a little bit. And I just love watching Estupiñán play. He just gets forward so much, but he also defends so well as well. And maybe that is what gives him the edge over Chilwell a little bit, because Chilwell's defensive kind of acumen has been questioned a bit.
Yeah, I think I've been surprised to see Chilwell kind of fall out of favor, especially since he was just named vice captain. So for me, it's kind of
Mm.
shocking that you wouldn't start your vice captain, especially with your captain not being fit. And I think, like you said, going forward, he's really, really great. And then defensively, I don't think he's been so bad. I don't know. Like Ben Chilwell is one of my favorite players, so maybe I'm a little bit biased when it comes to him. But I think he's pretty strong defensively. But I'm probably just biased.
No, I mean, I'm surprised that he's almost been kind of made the scapegoat for Chelsea at
Yeah.
the moment under Poch, because you know I saw you. I mean, obviously you were there in Philadelphia watching the game, and I was watching at home, and you know Chilwell was one of the players I was most impressed with. The way he was getting up and down the pitch, I just thought was going to be a key tactic that you'd use sort of all season against Liverpool. He had the goal disallowed, but played really well. And even you know in our fantasy football teams as well, we bought him in and all thought he was going to go on and absolutely smash it. And to see him dropped has been very strange, especially when the replacement in Mudryk has failed to impress as well.
Yeah, totally. And then you have Colwell playing like as a left back,
Yeah,
and you have three center backs on the pitch. Like, I don't quite think it makes sense. If somebody can understand this, please let me know, because I don't think that it makes sense.
I
What
agree.
about what about this midfield? So two Chelsea players make the midfield. Do you think that that's going to maybe make a difference in the midfield battle? Maybe Chelsea, that could be a battle that Chelsea win.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you know, individually, I think your midfield is really strong. The personnel with Enzo, with Casado, you know, Lavia obviously has been injured, but obviously a great player. Gallagher, I think I really rate as well. And you look at our midfield individually with Gilmore, with Gross, who is getting on a bit. Belaber's, you know, not really played too many minutes. You'd think you have the edge there, but our midfield works because of the system that we've got in place, and whoever seems to come into the midfield, you know, Dahoud, Lallana, they just seem to kind of just get what the Zerbi's doing. Whereas I think Chelsea are still trying to work out exactly that fluidity and that system of getting the ball and transitioning from the midfield up top. But I mean, Enzo is going to be a player that just gets better and better. I think young player, already won the World Cup. You know, he's kind of the talisman already, I think, of Chelsea as it is. And Casado, I was devastated to lose, but it was such a lot of money for him. I just hope that the price tag and the wages he's on and everything doesn't kind of get to him, because he is such a talent and he's got everything to go on and you know become one of the best players in the world. And I hope that doesn't kind of get stifled, you know, due to the big fee and the pressure that comes with signing for Chelsea. But you know, he's one of the best players I've ever seen in a Brighton shirt.
Wow, that that says a lot. And I think he had a bit of a rough start when he joined Chelsea. Obviously, conceded a penalty on his debut, but I do feel that I've seen him more and more comfortable. And hopefully, as the team starts feeling more comfortable and just gets used to one another, since they're all really new, they haven't had so
Mm.
much time. Especially Caicedo, he hasn't had a preseason with Chelsea. I think we're going to be able to see their chemistry come to fruition a bit more than it has been recently. At least that's my hope.
Yeah, I think it will happen. I think it's difficult moving to a new club and all the kind of, you know, as I said, all the pressure that kind of comes with that. And he's had a few injury little niggles at the start, and yeah, like you say, he made a couple of mistakes quite early on, and these will weigh on you a bit more heavily when you've just signed for 115 million. So it'll come for him, I'm sure, but yeah, hopefully not in this game.
And then finally, just taking a look at the attack, honestly, no qualms here. I think it makes a lot of sense. I was so impressed with Ferguson. I think that he's going to be maybe your next big player that might go for over 100 million as well.
Your next big signing, I'm
I know,
predicting.
yeah. We need a striker.
Yeah, he's just absolutely incredible. I mean, I was at the Bournemouth game, and he it was the worst performance I've seen from him. He was taken off at half time. He didn't look fully fit. I think he had a virus or something the week before. Is why he missed out in Europe. So it's whether he's kind of ready to come back into the starting 11. But he is. I mean, the potential of Ferguson is just absolutely ridiculous. 18 years old and starting for a top six side in probably the most difficult position in the pitch. Kind of says a lot about his character and his ability as well. And yeah, I'm expecting a lot of interest in him in January, but I doubt we'll sign, doubt we'll sell. But then in the summer as well, we'll do well to keep on to him.
100%. So just tying this video up as, who do you think this game is more important for?
I think for Chelsea, there's so much more pressure to get a result here. I think the Carabao Cup has got to be a cup where, you know, a lot of teams maybe rest players and try and say, okay, we've got other priorities. But I think for Chelsea, getting a bit of silverware will be key with the amount of money that's been spent. Every kind of trophy is kind of even more important. And you know, an early exit in any cup competition is going to be absolutely scrutinised. So I don't think there's any pressure on Brighton with this. If we get knocked out, we can focus on Europe and the league. I think Chelsea, like you said at the start of the video, it's a must-win.
Yeah. So kind of with that in mind, what's your score prediction?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I think we'll make a lot of changes, and I think we might struggle. But I'm going to back a Brighton win and heap even more pressure on Pochettino. I think we'll nick it 2-1.
I was gonna say 2-1, but for Chelsea.
We're not biased at all, are we?
No, not at all. So either way, one of us will get it right, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Cool as well. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been so lovely to have you on the channel. I really, really appreciate it. And let everybody know where they can find you.
Absolutely. No, thanks for having me on. It's been great to watch your videos, and yeah, although Chelsea are not my favourite club, it's great to watch you talk about them and kind of learn more about them. So yeah, I'm on YouTube. I do a weekly stream, FPL Black Box. So yeah, check it out if you haven't already.
Nice. So I will make sure that everything is linked in the title of this video and in the description box down below. So definitely make sure to check us out and check out his fantasy content as well, because we're getting up in the ranks there.
Well, we can't go any lower.
Yeah. The only way to go is up when you're so down, right? So guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to drop a like, sub to the channel, and I'll finally be back with the content after being off for essentially the entire month of September for crazy busy reasons and international break. So hope that you guys have a great rest of your day, evening, whatever time you're watching this, and until next time, we're out. Bye.